Hello, welcome back to Learning to Program using the Godot game programming engine. Today we're going to take our Programming Mr. Godot project just a little bit further. We're going to learn about a built-in tile map feature that Godot has and take our current little manual implementation and use the tool built in. So this is roughly where we left off. Let's save that. And I will jump out here to my project. I'm going to copy that and we'll make a part 4. So there's part 4. Let's go into, I don't need that, don't need that. Let's jump into Godot and import, browse, and get part 4. Alright, so first let's get rid of our manual implementation. It was good while it lasted, but we don't need it now. Another thing okay, so the first thing we do is we're going to add a TileMap node. And so you see here I've got these tiles that are kind of drawn on my screen for me, and it's positioned right there, and the first thing I want to do is I want to lock this. And the reason is, if I'm here in my scene and I don't have that locked, let's unlock it real quick. If I'm here in my scene and I try and click on stuff, I can sometimes click on my tile map on accident. This just makes it easier so that I can manipulate other things in my scene without messing with my tile map. And then when I want to change the tile map, you click tile map and you go into edit mode. Now, a tile map needs a tile set, and I can create a tile set here, but that doesn't really get me anything. So what I need to do is create one, and the way these are created in this version of Godot, now Godot 3.1 actually adds a nice editor for them, and it's really nice, and I was hoping that we could use that, but it's still an alpha version right now. So for now I'll show you how to do it in the old version. So to do this, let's create a scene, and this will be like our template scene, and I just need a regular node, and here it creates a sprite, or a tile for each sprite. So I'm going to create a sprite, and I'm going to make this one my grass tile, and I'll create another one, sprite, and let's make this one my dirt one, which I think was this tile. Image, yep. And they don't really have to be positioned anywhere. Anywhere is fine, so we'll just kind of set them out like that. And you can name them here, so this is grass, and we'll do this one dirt. Alright, and then when I save this scene, I'm just going to save this as my TileSet template, just like that. Alright, and that way I can come back and edit it if I need to. But in order to create the tile set, you actually come up here under Scene, and then Convert To, and then Tile Set. And here is where I'm actually creating my tile set. So I'm going to call this default tileset.tres. And that stands for resource. Alright, so there I just created a resource, and you see it's got that little icon, and that's just like the symbol that it was expecting over here for the tile set. So if I drag that in, I now have my tiles available to me, so I can click a grass tile and draw it. Now you notice they're overlapped a little bit on both the side and the top, and the reason for that is under this cell there's a size, and the size of my images are 70 by 70, and so if you had different size tiles, you can adjust this as needed. Alright, so now I've got 70 by 70, and I can draw a map really quickly. So there I've got some ground, I've got my grass tiles, it just made me a nice big grass floor for my whole level, and let's make a little tunnel. So left click draws a tile, and right click erases it. So let's make a little tunnel here for him to fall down into, and a little room there. Alright, so now if I hit play, my character will actually fall through the level, and the reason for that is there's no static body for my player to collide with. So you can set up static bodies on these tile sets by adding a new child node and doing a static body, and then adding your collision shape under that, and then setting up your rectangles. Just like before, the difference is, in this case, it's sort of reversed. I'm creating my sprites and then adding my static bodies under it. Now this wouldn't work so great for a kinematic body because the kinematic body would move and the sprite would stay still. But for static bodies, this works just fine. There may be a better way to do this, but this works pretty well. So we'll do the static body and collision shape, and we'll define that as a rectangle and stretch that out to fit. Resize it. There, that's good enough. Alright, now I do need to re-export that to a tile set in order to update my tiles. And if I go back here and run my scene, my player now collides with the tiles. So that's great. So really quickly we were able to create a little level for our character to run around in. He's got a nice little room he can hide out in. I can draw new tiles by just clicking and dragging. I can make mountains. I can make tunnels. You can draw different tiles, so if you have a larger tile set you could use those. You can also rotate them, so I could rotate tiles like that. That's kind of nice. And that one turns it all the way around, that one turns it back that way, so you could do some neat effects like that. And we learned how to add a static or a collision body to it so that my player can collide with it. Now one thing to note, you can have tiles that don't have collision shape and then others that do, by not adding this static body here. So I could have another third tile that didn't have one, perhaps water or something. The difference is that they all have to have the same collision type and be on the same collision plane. So if I look at my tile map down here under collision, you can set up the properties for that collision, but it applies to the entire tile map. So all the tiles in that tile map get that same collision. And the layers and masks we'll look at later, but it allows some objects to pass through while others don't. So anyways, so that's it for tile maps. I'm sure you can probably figure out more on your own, but as you can see, as I zoom out, I actually have this really huge space I can work with. And matter of fact, you might think these are the boundaries, but if I keep drawing, it just keeps growing. So you can create pretty much as big as you'd like of a level, and Godot will just grow right with you to handle whatever size level you end up making. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.